crimson red New Line logo is still Blade-style opening credits. And picking up right where we left off in Blade. Well, not right where we left off. 2,000 miles west, give or take, not like Putin could tell the difference. Puck Putin, but it's such an obvious idea to lure people in. I'm kinda surprised more vampires don't do it. I guess word would probably get around, but that bar From Dusk Till Dawn seemed to keep bringing new customers, although they were selling a slightly different product.
They even buy it in the jar.
I think it'd be a nice feeling to have a casting director say, oh, you'd be a perfect vampire, because this lady is so clearly a vampire. This switch over here is classic horror movie perfection. The predator becomes the prey. And just barely showing us his chin opening, so we really have no idea how intensely gnarly he looks yet. Oh, okay. Gotta get my censoring finger ready. Go watch it on Nebula if you want to see the blood explosion. It's been up there for a month, just like Blade Trinity is up there a month early now. Guillermo del Toro took the worst parts of vampires and smashed them together with zombies, and Reapers were born. Still, hard to argue with killing the guy in an SS uniform. And a perfect amount of terror and mystery to introduce a new villain for Blade. Despite just being used for this catch-up exposition dump, fun fact, this little clip of young Blade and a younger Whistler is from a whole deleted scene they shot showing us how the two characters met.
I should have finished him off. Now I'm hunting him.
What an opening to this film. Montage of his weapons, including everyone's favorite. And not only is there someone feeding on vampires, but Whistler's alive, or at least undead. Quickly reestablishing how good at this Blade actually is. The average vampire henchman is just toast. Now he's back, 20-second wonder with peak O2 visuals. I had a deleted joke win in my Blade video about how this scene was stolen by the Matrix, and now we've got Ducatis just like Trinity and Reloaded? Again, 1 year earlier? Man, we knew what we thought was cool and we stuck to it. Yep. Love. This really isn't a retcon. That's what happened, we just didn't see it all. So many questions. Is it just dried crystallized blood, or is there snow in it as well? Is he snorting blood blow? Quick exposition reminding us why Blade's bullets are making everyone explode, and this guy's fine. I'm glad to see Blade is leaning into the fancy-dancy flair from the first movie since we all applauded for it. Although I think they upped the choreography and fight budget, or Blade has been training.
Get you later.
He does.
Dark Knight Returns.
And I mean, he's got a sword, so Blade is way more deserving of the moniker.
Shit ain't gonna work, man. I see you kill a motherfucker right now.
So Scott is probably just saying this because he's worried Whistler has seen something that will implicate him, but my guy. Whistler is Blade's father figure. Also, he's easily one of the coolest characters in the series. You're just some boondock guy. Back off! Would it be an inappropriate time to say Whistler has a beautiful beard? Bro can't even ascend stairs without looking cool. It's so much not a retcon that Blade still has the gun Whistler used.
How do you feel? Like hammered shit.
Vivid! Chris Christopherson's workout routine. Dude is 66 here.
Josh, you can call me Scud though. Everybody does.
I love that look could just be something like, yeah, he's an acquired taste, or once you know the truth, yeah, he's a spy, I'll kill him eventually. Scud might be a villain, but the Powerpuff Girls rock. While the CGI later in this scene is it works in this moment as they sneak in. The silent swinging, it has an otherworldly quality that makes the characters feel more than human.
Whoa.
It's so clear he's saying, I'm on your side once you know he's been turned. Genius defensive update would have been a huge help in the first film when Frost & Co. came for Whistler and Karen. Hey, where is Karen? And Blade went up against Lamagro last time, who had some decent skills, but this feels like the first time an opponent is actually posing a challenge with blades, which of course the smart vampires would train for that. Granted, he still hasn't unsheathed his sword, but real talk, Wesley Snipes has a 5th degree black belt in Shotokan Karate and a 2nd degree black belt in Hapkido. He definitely holds himself and moves like someone who knows how to fight, and it always makes his character that much more believable. I can do flippies too. Also, the camera shake on his landing is back. Slight moments of Gumby Blade aside, what an awesome zoom-in draw ending to the fight. Obviously, vampires still feel pain, but a 4-needle blood test is smart security for a species that heals quickly. That's a little more friction than I'd be willing to go through for entry. I've always appreciated that in these movies, some vampires are your Frosts, your Mercuries, and your Nieces, agreed upon smoke shows. And then there's this guy, who's just a straight-up olden times classic monster.
You're human. Barely. I'm a lawyer.
I can't beat a dad joke.
Like cancer.
Cancer with a purpose.
That's some real honesty there. I've always loved the reflective irises the vampires have. It's the way you can tell Whistler is human again, and thinking back, it's probably why the intake lady never looks up until it's too late.
You want me to hunt them for you?
when they have finished with us, who do you think they'll turn on next?
Love this concept. It's so anti what we think absolutist Blade would stand for, but he really isn't left much choice.
So, B-Man, what do you think?
Sounds like a plan.
What do you really think?
They're gonna fuck us the first chance they get.
And I appreciate that the protagonist is as smart as the audience. We hate when it's obviously a setup, but for the sake of moving the plot along, the hero trusts the entirely untrustworthy antagonist. But like I said, what choice does he really have? Such a little detail that Nomak is focusing on dealers, hinting that he might not be a full-on bad guy. Feeding and the thirst are always so intrinsically tied to sex that it's like Nisa just caught Blade sharpening his sword.
Blade, meet the Blood Pack, Priest, Snowman, Chupa, and Reinhardt.
I know this came out in 2002, but meeting the gang scene where the gang has the most ridiculous names is such a wonderfully 90s moment. All the attitude and little nods, like, what is Donnie Yen doing? And the fits, can we talk about everyone's fit? It's Matrix-ish, it's rave-ish, it's everything you want from a band called the Blood Pack.
Can you blush?
So we have the fashy blood purists in Blade, and now they're making sure we know Reinhardt is racist in a non-supernatural way.
You've been training for 2 years to take me out. Here I am. Ooh, so exciting.
Perfect mockery.
Adolf here gets the first shot. Come on, what are you looking at her for? You need permission? Or maybe you need a little bit of incentive. I can help you with that.
This whole sequence is killer. We only occasionally get Snipes' delivery and humor in these movies, but when he lays it on, you realize how perfect he is for this role.
No, because of you, we've had to rethink our habits.
And another very solid reason to take on this mission. It's gotta be worth the risk to learn some of their new secrets. Already vibing. Forbidden love, am I right?
To curb that dog of yours, who will do it for you.
Keep pushing that.
The tension build on Reinhardt dying is just perfect. He sucks so bad, and he's a Nazi vampire. It's a win-win when he dies. Fun fact, it was originally going to be more explicit that Reinhardt was a Nazi. His blush line to Blade was based on something a neo-Nazi actually said to Snipes, and he was gonna only speak German. But Ron doesn't need all that text when he's the king of subtext. Not gonna begrudge them a slow-mo hero walk, even if, Blade's a hero, I think. Still counts. Always, always hated the razor blade smooch. Just the worst sensory intrusion for me. And I guess it makes sense. With heightened healing ability, you probably have a different relationship with pain, so I get it. To a point, I get it to a point, and that point is past.
Half of these bastards are not even purebloods. Why don't we just kill everyone, just to make sure?
Oh, I guess the blood purists are back, thinking they're the true vampires. Adds a nice dynamic to the punchy stabby action movie and pretty much guarantees their death.
God, it'd be so easy.
He's got you.
You can even see the Blade has his pistol pointed at him before Reinhardt even draws his.
Daywalker.
So we know that Nomak wants to talk to Blade, and really at this point, knowing what we know, the Blood Pack thinks they're hunting the Reapers, but really the Reapers are just waiting for Blade to show up. So Lighthammer, like big guys are often nicknamed Tiny, got it. It says a lot about who Scud is that there is most likely a Reaper on his van, and he takes another bite of his donut. Very Daryl of him. You thought he was in the darkness of the curtains, silly you. Nope. Great horror movie timing on the Reaper is waiting and then charging, but nope.
Is the enemy of my enemy my friend? Or my enemy?
Succinct answer.
Daylight.
Aw, our dude cares. Appropriate reaction. You know that Key and Peele sketch where they're pitching Gremlins 2? Kidding, kidding. Honestly, between Shade's Reaper and Bandage's Reaper, I like the idea that they've turned so fast and are driven so hard by thirst that nothing else matters to them. Definitely not eyewear. There's no need for this shot. The kick just pushes the Reaper back slightly, and so the slow-mo is 100% gratuitous. And I love it, and I wouldn't change a thing because you don't get Donnie Yen and not do a shot like this. Nothing like a little positive collateral damage. Oh man, Donnie Yen did the point. It's literally never not badass. Somehow even better with the eyeliner. No, but clever and terrific. Cleverific. Okay, in 2023, this might not seem like a reveal, and if you've watched Guillermo del Toro's stuff, your Pan's Labyrinth, or your The Strains, etc., the split mandible thing might not seem like a big deal. But Sweet Fancy Moses in the theater in 2002, this was full-on brain explosion level stuff, and it holds up. And obviously, nope to everything about the Reapers. The only reason I didn't come back to Blade 2 as much as Blade is because of the body horror stuff. Granted, we're talking dozens versus hundreds.
Daylight's coming. You on your own, Blade.
Why do I feel like I've heard that millions of times in video games when it doesn't really apply to very many?
Why kill me? You and I, we have the same enemy. We want the same thing.
You know I love those double meanings. Nomak means the vampire nation and his dad, but to us it just sounds like he means vampires in general. He's clearly trying to tell Blade what's up, and Blade just wants to fight. Blade just Liu Kang'd Nomak's face, and Nomak Eddie Gordo'd him right back. You know when the thing you use to take out the blood god doesn't work, you're in trouble. Mid-fall punching? No notes. Ingenuity reflecting the sun off his blade, Blade's blade. First Blood Blanca and now John Juice Jello?
I've been informed by our friend inside that...
Love that it's only sort of a reveal, because the whole blood pack seems not that trustworthy. He means Scud, but he could be talking about almost anyone.
Open the mouth, Scud.
B, man, come on.
Uncalled for Blade, although at this point Blade knew Scud was a traitor, so maybe he was just hoping he'd have an excuse to end him. Credit where credit is due. Looking at gross stuff usually makes me want to forget I even have a mouth, and this dude's chewing gum. The monster design here is so killer. It really is cool to see Del Toro swinging for the fences before he had the cred, at least in the States. I'm also noticing now that the AI number of teeth wasn't just a Nomak thing, it's a Reaper thing.
Papa's got a brand new bag.
It's sort of a bummer that Scud is a snitch, because I do love seeing him and Whistler finally get along. You know who really sucks though? Lighthammer. You clearly don't love your Manic Pixie Dream Vamp.
UVs have a 10-second delay. Nisa, just remember to take cover.
He has a crush.
Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer.
You keep telling yourself that, lady baby. Oh, it's Scud, right? He's talking about Scud. He got me. So it's really a misnomer to call it a split mandible because they don't have one. Pretty baller move from Verlaine. I think this counts as self-sacrifice. Also, apparently in the original draft of the film, Verlaine was the sister of Tracy Lord's Raquel from the first Blade film, so now you also know that entirely useless fun fact. Nope, don't do that. Don't go into bodies of water surrounded by skulls. Seems pretty self-explanatory to me.
Get up! Right now.
There's always that brief moment of, oh no, not that blood pack guy. Oh wait, these vampires trained for 2 whole years to take out Blade. Die, sucker. And I know the Reapers aren't the same as Blade, but I gotta wonder if the surviving members of the blood pack are like, 2 years was maybe not enough. And seriously, Blade is just way better at this than they are.
You try to stink me to death, old man.
And 2 years of training did not make them any smarter.
You obviously do not know who you are f***ing with.
A+ delivery, absolutely killed it. Badass good guy.
By the way, Blade, did I happen to mention the bomb lever's stuck?
I mean, jerk move, but that was quick thinking to forget to mention it when Blade asked. Fun fact, UV rays can actually burn you through water. Little known fact. I learned it snorkeling once. Oh, okay. I guess Nisa learned it once too. This is a pretty big deal. Totally goes against his character. My understanding is that Blade could still be turned into a full vampire from a bite, so it's risky. Yet it also totally makes sense because Blade has a soft spot for those he considers innocent. Honestly, go with what works, and tasers were the only thing that gave Frost the upper hand. Girl, say what you mean. He's brave, honorable, and a mega babe deluxe. You can lie to your dad, but we've been watching the film. We want to help him with his sword sharpening. Get your own whetstone. Okay, I accidentally went too far.
They took him. All our weapons, even your sword.
Even his sword? Yep, they took him. Even Mjolnir, Thor. Sorry, Hal, even your Green Lantern ring. We had no idea they'd take your lightsaber, Luke.
You want to explain how Nomak got a hold of this ring?
I very much enjoy that Goyer teased the ring right from the beginning. We get an insert of Nisa putting it on after combat, so when Nomak gives his to Whistler, we should be able to figure it out.
He's your only real weakness, man.
No lies detected.
You think they scoped out my security system? I let them in, asshole.
Love this. Whistler questions Scud's ability in like the first 10 minutes of the movie, and Scud is still holding on to it, so petty. It's why Whistler is the best, and Scud's about to die.
Pretty soon they're all gonna be daywalkers, man. I'd rather be a pet than cattle.
Weird you wouldn't want to just be a daywalker? Dream bigger, my guy.
1, I've been on to you since they turned you. 2, it's not a dud.
Oh, great.
Muppets, but perfect one-liner to go out on. Also, look at the single frame of the dummy and tell me they didn't put a lot of work into this.
I was just starting to like him.
I actually believe him. Wesley Snipes will work out routine.
We'll find the missing key to creating daywalkers.
Bite a pregnant lady. But I'll cut them some slack because it's possible that only Frost knew about that since he was the one that bit the pregnant lady. Yikes. It is odd that the one with the bloodbath rave is the tamer of the two so far.
Keep talking, Honky Tonk. Just makes my sending you to the next world all the sweeter.
Been there, done that. Do your worst, chicken.
I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Chris Christopherson is the coolest, and I gotta hand it to Ron Perlman. He's really falling on his sword here because he himself can be mega cool, but he's letting himself look like an absolute doofus, all to make Whistler seem like the ultimate old man badass.
Make no mistake, Nissa. Those blood ties mean nothing to me when measured against the ascendancy of our race.
Another Nazi vampire says, what? I mean, what does that even mean? You don't care about blood ties unless it's to the entire race? Nazis be stupid, that's the win. For all the snarky crap they have him say throughout the film, the restraint Goyer and Del Toro show by having Whistler not make a lawyer joke after taking out Rasputin here is borderline heroic. Brutal. Also, I guess Whistler picked up a few things while living with the enemy if he can read the glyphs. And Nomak was thinking the same thing. Hot dang this score. Marco Beltrami knows how to get you rooting for the hero. Yup. Blade Goes Beast Mode Part 2. You know Serum ain't got nothing on the real deal now. And Blade being all juiced up kinda makes me wish he would just go Morbin time and feed on bad guys. This sound design in this fight is so bonkers. Every rib, every neck. Also, I gotta mention how killer it is that he's whooping all these dudes in what appears to be some Sunday slacks. Impressive. Glass breaker vertical suplex.
Like my daddy said right before he killed my mom, want anything done right, you gotta do it yourself.
That explains so much. And also, again, props to Heinrich for never backing down or understanding how absolutely screwed he is.
He also said...
I mean, you have to love that he was playing it coy to catch Blade off guard, only to get the most one-upped on in the history of one-upping.
Can you blush?
And Reinhardt did not see that coming. And while his death is pretty awesome, it's not particularly brutal because it's so fast. I love it because Reinhardt doesn't even matter. He doesn't warrant the time it takes to care. Sunny's time.
I reset the security code. We're locked in.
Are you insane? You kill us both?
Yes.
Dang, badass good girl. No one ever expects the flying sword skewer. First a suplex and now an insane elbow drop? I do enjoy that in a film that is essentially a horror sci-fi, the final set piece is just a brutal punchy kick fest. You know, last time he was able to turn the multiple spinning hook kicks into a hit, so I don't blame him for trying. Hate this. Was it inside his skin? I keep forgetting all the things I hate in this movie. Yes, it's still a win because it's freaking hardcore.
Strange. It hurts no more.
Well, that's unexpectedly tragic. Agreed though, he is icky. Well, that was way different than Dragonetti in the first movie. Here's my theory. Fighting it versus accepting it. And I do like that Whistler sees it. Blade has a connection with her and Whistler thought it was dangerous, but in the end, Blade's connection with Nissa basically saved the day and ended Damaskinos. Goes to show, love your mortal enemies. Or actually, love vampires. Yeah, that's it. Hey, they have a Reaper throat thingy toy. Interesting.
Well, you didn't think I forgot about you, did you?
Keep in your word.
And I'll consider you a loose end.
Also, we had the chance earlier, a new waiting would be better. Also, I love that they decided not to end the film on the somber, borderline, tragically romantic note of Nissa dying in Blade's arms, and instead the literal last frame of this film is a vampire getting a sword in his forehead because, come on, let's be honest with what we're doing here. Look, it's hard to compete with Blade. It's hard to compete with any origin story film, honestly. The best thing I can say about Blade 2 is that it doesn't totally fail. I don't think it's better, but I do think it holds its own. Del Toro swung for the fences with the new villains while still honoring who Blade was in the first movie. I'm sure part of that is thanks to Wesley's creative control as producer and Goyer writing again, but I still appreciate that everything we loved about Blade is in this movie. His wit, his brutality, his unwillingness to believe that people don't know who he is and what he's capable of. And it doesn't throw out the lore, it expands it and makes the world bigger. I won't disagree with anyone who says it's sometimes doing too much. I mean, the Blood Pack. Part of me thinks they know they're a joke, but also, Nissa and Assad really give Blade a run for his money. Everyone else is just trying a little too hard. And as Stephen Dorff's relaxed nihilist Gen Xer vampire Frost taught us just by his vibe, trying is not cool. The only other hiccup is the wonky CGI we get here and there, but honestly the biggest reason it stands out is because the practical stuff is pitch perfect. That said, I genuinely love this film. So much of this movie works. I love that the first film is Blade against this offshoot of New Blood vampires who rejected the old guard, and then in the sequel it's Blade against that that fascist old guard. It's a great way to stay in the world already established and makes me think it's too bad Frost and Blade couldn't have worked it out. Because when the Blood Pack goes to the club and Priest wants to kill everyone, he's talking about Frost's world. They're literally at a rave. And I already said it, but I wasn't just calling Reinhardt a Nazi for giggles. The whole Blood Pack was going to be explicitly Nazis, and a lot of that stuff is left in there. And Nazi or not Nazi for sure. This is my first time realizing that Ron Perlman was the new Quinn, even his easy-peasy death right before Blade gets his shades back. I can't think of anyone better for the part. The design of the Reapers is awesome, and that they feed on vampires is such a great twist and way to up the ante. Only complaint about them is that Nomak dies. Would have been fun if he had turned full anti-hero and joined the Night Stalkers and Blade Trinity. And Luke Goss... Wait, like former 80s pop star Luke Goss? Huh. Yeah, fascinating. Well, Popstar Nomak is great as the sort of anti-hero slash enemy of Blade's enemy slash actually he was just a bad guy all along. There's something about his presence that feels both sinister and regal, and for a character with bland clothes and a face that I think deliberately blends in with the rest of the Reapers, he was always easy to spot. It makes perfect sense that Del Toro nabbed him to play Prince Nuada in Hellboy 2. That's right, let that seep into your brain while you're still trying to wrap your mind around Rasputin being the silly bullet hole-filled lawyer. At times the film seems like it isn't totally sure what to do with Whistler, but he ends up with some of his best moments in this film. And Snipes continues his stellar exploration of the character with his clear affection for Nyssa adding a nice layer of complexity to the punchy, kicky, blood-squirty vampire film. And if you're into that sort of thing and want more of it, Everything Great About Blade Trinity is already up on Nebula right now, plus a full 2.5-hour commentary for Clear and Present Danger. The reason it's 2 special extras is because, look, we started the commentary a little after midnight, and it's just... we're both a little loopy, and it gets progressively loopier as the commentary goes on, and I wouldn't say there's a ton of insight into the movie, but we did have fun. I mean, here's an excerpt from when the credits are rolling.
You're never gonna release this. Why would you? There's like full 15-minute just moments of silence. It's like, this sure is a movie.
And that's not true. The longest was like 1.5 minutes. Just to be clear, for copyright reasons, it's just our commentary, not the whole movie uploaded. But I give you a countdown and you can sync it up and watch along with us. It's like a fun little watch party. But anyway, my writer Ruben and I did it together, and if you like this one, we'll do more. So that's there. And so is Everything Great About Blade Trinity, the one with Ryan Reynolds apps. And by signing up with my link, you get 40% off an annual subscription. But as always, that's not all you'll find on Nebula. There are original series from your favorite creators, classes from people like Matthew Kelly from Nando V Movies to teach you how to get paid to be a fan. It's growing every day, and there's so much you can only get on Nebula, including my exclusives like terrible commentaries for good movies. Use my link to get 40% off. It's a huge help to the channel, and I will keep making just the most top-tier stuff for you.
Ooh, so exciting.
You're about to enter our world. You will see things. Just remember why you're here.
I haven't forgotten. You gotta be kidding me.